guys. I'm going to start on today's news broadcast. We are starting very strong today with an advertisement from Russia. You know, in briefs, I call this segment Russian Madness, and I try to include some ridiculous stuff that comes out of Russia into every brief. Hi, Joe. Hi, Grumpy. And so this time around, I also decided that I would, I decided that I would start a newscast with our favorite brief segment, Russian Madness. Because Russians have released a new advertisement to show how terribly the Europeans are living in Europe now that they don't have Russian gas. Hi everyone on TikTok. Hi Juju, hi Praxis. Let me see. Hi Tammy, hi Lauren, hi Lily, hi, oh my gosh, hi Tatiana. So Russia has released a new advertisement, and we're gonna once some more people come on, we're gonna play that ad. And we're gonna talk about that. If you hear ridiculous sounds in the background, there is an Armageddon of a rainstorm in New York City today. It started sometime last night, and it's just been like that since. I think it's that storm that was supposed to hit Seattle and then hit some other areas of the U.S. gradually. I don't think we're getting much snow. I don't think we're getting a snowstorm, but I think we're getting this rain Armageddon. So if you hear it in the background, that is what it is. It is really scary, to be honest, because it'll be quiet and quiet and quiet, and then there is just a boom wind in my window, and I kind of I just I get scared from time to time. So if you hear it, don't get scared. So we're going to cover a little bit of the news from yesterday today because, as you guys know, I had to run yesterday and do a Patreon Zoom call. For those of you who are subscribed, I hope that you enjoyed it. It is going to be, we have had 2 so far. It is going to be a monthly occurrence. So if you're a member of Patreon, it's going to be every first Thursday of the month. This time it was not a first Thursday, but normally we're going to do every first Thursday of the month, and we're going to do it at 8 or 8:30 p.m. So that's going to be the schedule. I'm going to put it in my calendar, and we're going to be doing that monthly. So if you are interested, please join Patreon. We're not necessarily talking about Ukraine all the time. We're just kind of catching up and talking about whatever it is, It's just kind of like a chat. And I personally really enjoy those. Last night's was really fun. It's really great to catch up with you guys, and it's really great to find out more. I feel like, I've said this before, but it's I know some of you, I feel quite well, because we will talk on Instagram, and we will talk through other sources, and we'll talk through chat, and then I find out that you have 4 kids and I didn't know, so it's nice to get to know you better. But yeah, so we did that, and today we're gonna cover some news from yesterday. And we're also going to cover some news from today. Today was not as news heavy as it was yesterday and the days before that. I think that everybody's still discussing and recovering from Zelensky's visit to DC. And there hasn't really been that much. But the news that did come out is worth addressing, is in some ways interesting, in some ways disturbing, and in some ways Russian madness. Because, we love a healthy dose of Russian madness, except lately they have been blessing us with an unhealthy dose of Russian madness. And with that said, let me say hi to everybody that I didn't yet on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And we're going to dive straight into our first batch of Russian madness for today, and that's the new Russian ad about Europe. It is, you will see. Okay, Carolyn, hi. Hi, Joanna. Hi, Grumpy. Hi, Gap. Hi, Jillian. Hi, Yogi. Hi, ABCD. Hello. Hi, Sky. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Justin. Do you know if the Patriot systems are in Ukraine or they're being kept in Poland for now? We are getting one Patriot system for Ukraine, and it's not there yet. That's the whole thing Zelensky was talking about at a press conference, and he said that he's really grateful that the package of aid included a Patriot system, but he was Kyiv. Heroyam Slava, but he was saying, like, if you want me to be honest, do I think it's enough? Absolutely not. You know, we're at war. Of course, we need more patriots than just one, but it's a good start. Okay, so with that said, I am going to show you this fantastic ad that Russians recorded about, you know, what Europe is going to be like this winter, and what a European Christmas is going to look like this winter without Russian gas, which is like, it's so bad and so disturbing and so offensive on so many levels, but I won't tell you much. I will have you look at it and then we'll discuss it, because, you know, thank you so much for sharing the live, and Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava, and glad to see you active. I've been active this whole time. It's just that sometimes lovely, lovely, lovely TikTok, I love this platform so much. Lovely TikTok sometimes takes away my ні, я не слідкувала Святого Миколая цього року. Yeah. Yeah. If your media is not telling you where all of this is going, it's available through the VPN. It's so funny that they keep trying to portray it as like Europe can survive without Russia. Meanwhile, gas reserves are at an all-time high. Electricity is fine. And I don't know where they've gotten this from, like where this rhetoric is even coming from there's going to be nothing to eat and they're going to have to eat the hamster. Because if anything, Russia is the place where, you know, things are, thank you so much, Frank, where things are disappearing from shelves from grocery stores. And it's just like so blatantly awful. And like the climate is okay in Europe, you know, like European families are not living in this crazy bad environment with no light, and by 2023 they'll find a new we'll make sure that we can transfer our electricity, like our gas and electric grids, to someone else, not Russia. It's like, you know, if they've managed to bring up the reserves of all of these resources to 90% in less than a year, they'll figure it out by Christmas 2023. But it's kind of like it's ridiculous, to be honest, that Russians are using this, and they're using these like ridiculous scenarios as something to get Europeans to like them or to dislike Ukraine or to want to come back to a partnership in Russia. it's also like it always it always surprises me that Russians for some reason think that releasing these ads and making people think that their life is horrible because of Russia's genocide to Ukraine is somehow going to make people like Russia more. It's just so strange, it's strange how they think blackmail is somehow going to make their reputation better. Not batter, not like pancake batter, but better is going to make their reputation better, while they're basically just showing the world that, yeah, gas was cut off and Russian income was cut off because they are to blame for everything that's happening in the world. But that's, since the beginning of this invasion, one thing I've realized is that Russians will blame anyone and anything, but they will never blame themselves. They will never take responsibility for anything. And they will never acknowledge that their actions might have led to something unpleasant. It's always everybody else around them. Also, hi Kim, so good to see you. Yeah. Also, dictators are always evil is a comment on TikTok, and it's not just dictators. Honestly, in this case, it's also the Russian people. And we all tried to think that it was Putin's war. We all tried to think that it was just him. But time and time again, Russians are showing us that it is not Putin. And I just want everybody in the world to remember this little detail, that Putin is a product of Russia, not the other way around. Russia is not a product of Putin. Russia has been like this since way before Putin was even born. So he is the product of Russia, not the other way around. So yeah. Also, in fun news today, that again titled as the Russian Madness, a deputy from St. Petersburg asked the prosecutor's office to open a criminal case against Putin after he called the special operation a war. So Putin, for the first time on TV and in a public address, called the special military operation a war in Ukraine, and in Russia saying war is illegal as per Putin himself. So there is a deputy of a deputy from St. Petersburg who asked the prosecutor's office to open a criminal case against Putin for saying war rather than special operation, as it is illegal in Russia. And I find it so ironic and such karmic joke. You forbid everybody in your country to call a genocide, and then you go on national TV and call it what it is, and then you get called out on it. Obviously, this is not going to go anywhere, and obviously no one's going to prosecute him for anything, but obviously no one's going to prosecute him for anything, but at the same time, it is at least, if anything, it's at least funny. So that's a first step. And let's focus on everything that happened in the past 24 hours, a little more than 24 hours. A little bit more than, one second. A little bit more than the past 24 hours because, yesterday my newscast was cut short as I had to run and do a Zoom call. But for everybody who's new here, let me do my usual rundown. Hi, my name is Yulia. I was born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine, and I have moved to the United States at the age of 16, 12 years ago, and I have been living here since. My whole immediate family lives in Lviv still and is planning on staying there, and, my mom, my dad, my two grandmas, my grandpa, and my aunt. So everyone in my immediate family, everybody that I care about is in Ukraine. And, well, not everybody that I care about, gosh, this is a terrible rundown. My husband's here. But yeah, so my entire family lives in Ukraine, and on this channel every day since February 24th, we do live news breakdowns on everything that happened in the past 24 hours in and pertaining to Ukraine. We give it historical, geopolitical, political, and otherwise relevant context so you can better understand how we ended up here and what's happening, and sort of, ask questions if something needs to be clarified or if something makes no sense to you. This stream is running on 4 different platforms at the same time. That is TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. My handle is the same across the board, so if you prefer to watch me on any one of the channels mentioned just now, other than the one that you found me on, you're welcome to switch. Hi to Lulu. Hi, Lulu. Yeah, I was on Harry's live. Good to see you. But yeah, so basically, if you prefer to watch me on any other platform than the one that you found me on just now, I would highly suggest that you go over to YouTube and subscribe there too, because not only are all of my lives saved there, I also have interviews with Ukrainian defenders, including Azov regiment servicemen who served in Mariupol, who were in Azovstal and Russian captivity. And I also do news rundowns twice a week in a form of a short form video under 20 minutes, where you can find out everything that happened in the week so far in a convenient format that isn't an hour and a half long live. And they're packed with like jokes where appropriate, and basically they just deliver you everything you need to know in a very, very, very convenient time frame. And I've been told that some people even speed it up twice, yeah, and they do it in under 10 minutes. So there is that option available. I'm also going to be releasing a couple of new segments for YouTube, one of which, if you follow me on like Twitter and if you follow me on other social media, you will know that I have been asking people around all around basically what kind of questions they're tired of answering or explaining about Ukraine. And questions like Zelensky is a Nazi, the US should stop sending aid to Ukraine because it takes away from American taxpayers, and just like basically these troll rhetorics that have seeped through our society. And so I'm going to be doing a segment called FAQU, FAQU, frequently asked questions, but FAQ. A all-encompassing guide to Ukraine for Westerners. And I'm basically going to be answering these questions because one thing that I realized that would be super helpful is if what I've been asked for a lot of times by both Ukrainians who watch me and both like English speakers who watch me, is where can they find answers to all of these like frequently asked questions that they can send to their brother-in-law, their cousin, or somebody who's like, severely brainwashed by like Fox News or something like that, or just people who haven't like closely kept up with the situation and ask questions that might appear ignorant. So I'm going to be answering all of those frequently asked questions. Obviously, it's not going to happen in one video because that would probably have to be 4 hours long. But I basically will be taking like probably 5 questions per episode and just answering them in this segment called FAQ. And if you know what the play on words is FAQU. Fuck you. An all-encompassing guide to questions about Ukraine for Westerners. So I hope you like that little joke there. Hi Lucy, and hi Preston. Do you like YouTube better than TikTok? Yes, I do, but not for any other reason. But not for any reason other than the fact that there is just going to be a lot more information coming to YouTube, and YouTube's moderation policies are much better. If you're, a lot of creators who talk about uh, leftist ideology get banned very often or reported by like Trump supporters. Ukrainian creators get reported by like full-on troll farms. So I just don't necessarily trust TikTok that much because it's fickle. You know, I can go live and talk about video editing and Premiere, and I'll get banned for hate speech, and then I appeal it, and they're like, nope, there was hate speech. Meanwhile, I was talking about something absolutely unrelated. But trolls know that I talk about Ukraine on other days, so they just do it, you know? And it depends on the day. Like sometimes if I reach out to them enough, they get tired of me and then they just like restore my lives right away. And sometimes, I don't know, maybe someone changes on the team and they don't. So I do prefer YouTube for stability, and I do prefer YouTube for kind of like the structure of content, because I think that I can release much more in-depth videos on YouTube. No one's gonna watch like a 15-minute thing on TikTok, you know? And TikTok is good for like short explainers. If you go on my page, I answer a lot of like frequently asked questions as well, but it's like you won't be able to send one big explainer to someone. You're only gonna be able to send, you know, a video after video after video. So I think that some formats and some content is just much more suited for YouTube, and I do prefer it that way. I know that it was a very, very, very long explanation. You probably wanted a yes or no, but I'm unable of like short form answers to questions that I consider important. So yeah. But yeah, basically, if you guys want to, please follow me on YouTube, which I highly recommend you do. It's the same handle as here, and I do release a lot of very useful info there, including videos twice a week that run down. I am on Twitch. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. I do have an Instagram. I don't do lives there, but these 4 platforms are where I do lives. And on, yeah. But YouTube is just, you know, Twitch only keeps videos for like 2 weeks. Yogi is asking, TikTok doesn't pay either, do they? Well, TikTok does have a creator fund. It's like 2 cents per 1,000 views, so it's very, very little return. But to be honest, because I'm a small YouTuber, YouTube doesn't really pay me that much either. So like I don't really make a lot of money from social media, which is like barely at all, barely at all, really. So that's why I always say, you know, if you're able to and you like my information and you would like to support my journalistic endeavors and, well, rather my journalism. I'm just always so awkward talking about it. It's like, you know, my husband is my editor, John, and he's like, Yulia, you need to say this seriously, because this is like a real thing that's happening, and this is your full-time job at this point. And I'm like, I really don't know how to do this properly. But yes, basically I do have a Patreon. There is a subscription feature available here, and then there is also a subscription feature available on YouTube where you can join my channel. So if you'd like to support my journalism, you have 3 different avenues that you can do that. I also have PayPal. Basically all of my social medias are connected to my link in bio on TikTok. It's also on Twitter. My link in bio is also, it's just beacons.ai/Yulia. You can find my PayPal there, my Patreon. You can find every single social media I am on. And also my YouTube is linked right next to my profile picture on TikTok as well, so you can easily find it. Is my husband also Ukrainian? No, my husband, in his own words, is American born, but he is American Brazilian culturally. However, he is half Brazilian and a quarter Japanese, and then like a mixture of, again, in his own words, various whiteness. But I would say that culturally he's American Brazilian. And yeah, he's not Ukrainian. He's not Ukrainian, but he's very supportive. He's also my editor, and he is my videographer. That's his job. That's his professional occupation, and he has been very, very, very supportive in helping me edit my videos till 5 in the morning, sometimes till 6 in the morning, sometimes till 7 in the morning. And that's also the reason why you guys see very good lighting setup now on my YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, is because he finally got his hands to doing that. The reason why the quality of the latest brief was like so good too is all John. John is also like, I do want to point this out because I feel like you see me on camera every day, so you know how much work I put into all of this, but you don't see him on camera, so you don't know how much work he puts into all of this. But he is 50% of this channel, if not more, in terms of editing, and he does give me lots of great ideas. The FAQU thing was his idea. I couldn't figure out a good name, and he just like, it just dawned on him. And yeah, I just want to pay him a tribute because he has been very amazing. And honestly, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had briefs, because I would have given up on them a very long time ago, because I know nothing about editing. I know nothing about filming. I know nothing about light. And they just, you know, they just weren't that great. But yeah. But yes. Also, I am going. Okay. So this is also a frequently asked question. So I'm going to ask my mods to take a screenshot of this question so I can include this on the list. Basically, that guide on YouTube is going to be questions you're tired of answering, and I'm tired of answering this, but I will anyway. Pertaining to the Budapest Agreement, the not 1 inch eastward regarding NATO expansion, was that violated ever? There was no agreement of not 1 inch eastward in the Budapest Memorandum. Also, according to Gorbachev, who was the person who was, it wasn't, first of all, this was not in the Budapest Memorandum, okay? This was when the Soviet Union, allegedly, Russians say, this was when the Soviet Union was collapsing. Gorbachev, it was the one who was at that meeting, and he said that there was no talk about NATO expansion at all, that nobody cared about NATO expansion, that no one promised anyone to not expand, and that it is a new rhetoric that Russia came up with in order to justify all of their actions. Gorbachev himself, who was the man in the room with the President of the United States at the time, at the NATO meeting, that thing never existed. Nobody cared about NATO expansion. Nobody asked NATO to not expand, and NATO didn't promise anything. So this whole rhetoric of not 1 inch eastward is utter BS made up by Russia. The United States came out and said that that was never addressed and that was never a thing. And then Gorbachev himself, who's still alive, by the way, or he's not still alive. He was alive. He actually died very recently, and people were like, whoa, he was still alive? And then the joke started circulating, don't be like Gorbachev where you're still alive and people didn't know. Be like Bandera where you're not alive and Russia still thinks you are. But basically, yeah, there was no such agreement ever made. It's a complete and utter fabricated BS coming from Russia, and it's not a thing. So yeah. So absolutely not. That was not a thing. Gorbachev himself said that. Yeltsin said that. Basically, absolutely no one has ever promised Russia or the Soviet Union to not expand. So yeah. So yes. And there was, Lex, Lex, you're new. Welcome. It also wasn't like it wasn't a jab at you. It's just that, like, I know that this has been a rhetoric that's been flying around a lot, and I think that the reason why I want to do this YouTube guide of frequently asked questions is because I also want to be able to point people to the YouTube guide of frequently asked questions, because I think at this point I could get a tape recorder, and anytime somebody asks these questions, I would just press play because I've answered them so many times. So yeah. Okay, so let's move on with the news. Hi, Joey. Good to see you. I somehow managed to lose where I was at with the news. Oh my gosh, there is so much that came out since yesterday, and I'm so mad at myself for not having been able to do the whole, the whole thing yesterday, and having to reschedule it for today, because there is now so much information that has been backed up. Joey, oh my God. No, Joey, me from Ukraine? So Joey Contino is here on TikTok. If you guys don't follow him, you absolutely should. His wife is Ukrainian. Her name is Julia. They volunteer for Razom for Ukraine, which is like this amazing volunteer organization that packs up medical kits for Ukrainian soldiers and sends them to front lines. Joey himself packs up these medical kits like way too many times a week. They have been doing a lot of incredible work, and Joey just stopped by, and he's being funny over there. He's being a little clever. But okay, on the way home, Zelensky said that he met with President of Poland, Andrzej Duda. They discussed strategic plans for the future, bilateral relations, and cooperation at the international level in 2023. Also, one of my moderators, Grumpy, Grumps a lot, grumpy old firefighter, depending on which platform you're at. He's from Newfoundland, what most people call Newfoundland. I found out recently that it's Newfoundland. Not Newfoundland, Newfoundland. So if you're Finnish and you are, and you're wondering if they're saying Newfoundland, no, they're not. It's Newfoundland. But so basically he said that Zelensky's jet on his way back to Ukraine stopped by in Newfoundland to recharge or to refuel. So there is also that, we have an exclusive scoop from the Isle of Newfoundland that we would not have known if my moderator Grumpy didn't live there. So we can thank Grumpy for this juicy scoop. But yeah, nothing exciting happened. His jet just got refueled, and then it went back to Ukraine, rather to Poland. But I thought it was, it was very important to mention because it's a juicy scoop. So yeah. The G7 countries said they will continue to cover Ukraine's urgent financial needs and have already raised $32 billion for budgetary assistance in 2023. This amount includes 18 billion euros from the European Union, grants and loans from individual countries, and a support package from the United States. Iran's foreign ministry criticized President Zelensky for his speech to the U.S. Congress on drones and support for Russia. Zelensky should know better that Iran's strategic patience with such baseless accusations is not limited, Foreign Ministry spokesman Kanaani said. He added that the Iranian side did not supply any military equipment to any party for use in the war in Ukraine, and that Iran respects the territorial integrity of all countries, including Ukraine. Well, see, I want to point out that this is a very, 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 very not correct statement, because earlier Iran said that they did indeed supply weapons to Russia, and Russia never said where they're going to use these weapons. And it's not Iran's business where Russia is going to use these weapons. They're just supplying them weapons because Russia is paying for them. And it's funny because, Russia bought them amid the war in Ukraine. So, there is a troll who says she lets her mouth run. Yes. And also, normally I'm wearing serial killer glasses, and there is a reason for that. So if I were you, I wouldn't stick around much longer. Anyways, so Iran's statement that they support Ukrainian territorial integrity and that they support every country's sovereignty is not real. And earlier they did say that they were selling weapons to Russia and it wasn't their business where Russia was using them, but they also were selling it. And they were also, oh, hi, 8 Life. And they were also selling them amid the war in Ukraine. So please don't play dumb, It's like, where these weapons are going to be used. So, and it's funny when Iran says, oh, our patience is not limited. It's like, oh, you sound like someone. You sound just like the 2 other guys I know. One is a very short man with a Napoleon complex from Russia. And another one is a not so short, but somehow still with a Napoleon complex man from North Korea. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, the snowplow. Thank you so much. That was so pretty. So cute. Thoughts on Azov? Well, anytime somebody asks me about Azov, I already know that they're asking it negatively, right? But here's the thing. Instead of providing you with thoughts on Azov on this live and distracting myself from the news, I am going to say, first of all, they are heroic defenders of Ukraine. Second of all, they are... there is a pinned post on my TikTok profile about Azov. You can go and check it out. And then if you want to know more about Azov and you want to know things in depth better than I could ever say them, go to my YouTube, same handle is here, and there is a whole section called Tougher Than Steel, in the words of the Ukrainian defenders, and they are interviews with Ukrainian defenders, including Aiden Aslin, Dyaku, and including Torque. Here, I'm gonna show you what that looks like. These are the interviews, and they're all dubbed with English subtitles, and they are, here you go. For those of you who are on Twitch and Twitter, this is what it looks like. The series is called Tougher Than Steel, Defenders of Ukraine, and one of the interviews is a 4-part series, 3 parts of which have been released. And it's with Torque. He is an Azov regiment serviceman. He served in Mariupol. He was in Azovstal. He was in Russian captivity. He was exchanged back to the territory of Ukraine in July. He has gone through severe rehabilitation for an incredible injury that he has had on his leg. Part of his muscle is missing still, but he has gone through like a lot of rehabilitation and actually returned to service, and now he's undergoing training and he's going to be back to the front lines. And the worst part is that Torque and I have become friends because he's such a good guy, and I am so worried, but I know that, after you watch the interview with him, you will understand why. He is of course going to go back, and he's of course going to fight, and he's the kind of person who doesn't give up, and there is just nothing that I can do about it. But it's really sad because it's a person that I know, and it's a person that I really have gotten to love, and he's such a fantastic guy. And I'm just my heart is breaking because I just really want him safe. But we on this channel, also with your amazing help, because you guys are all fantastic, through some of you and through some of your kindness, have been able to get Torque really good boots, have been able to get him a plate carrier, have been able to get him some thermal underwear and stuff like that. We are still looking at getting plates for him. We are, we've gotten him some gear that he was missing because obviously all of it was destroyed in Mariupol, but that makes me feel much, much happier because at least I know that he's going to be taken care of. And also, before I started answering this question, I was kind of freaking out about TikTok here, but so there are these, so on YouTube there are super stickers, super chats and stuff like that, and on TikTok there are these animated gifts, and some of them are just so pretty. And there was the snowplow one, and snowplow one, and it's very cute, and I saw it for the first time, and it was on my wish list, so it was very, very cute, and that's why I was freaking out. So normally, if you're not on TikTok but you're on other social medias and you see me freaking out, I'm freaking out because someone sent me a very cute gift on TikTok that I haven't seen before. And with that said, all of your gifts and all of your super chats and all of your super stickers are incredibly appreciated, although not expected, obviously, but yeah, they do go a very long way, and I do really appreciate them. Also, thank you, Radio. I did see that you sent some gifts on TikTok. I was just in the middle of a very long speech. And before I go to the next bit of information about Ukraine and everything that pertains to it, I wanted to read a comment that I found really funny. As I said earlier, I've heard that some people have been watching me on 2 times the speed, and someone said, I'm still trying to get over the fact that someone is able to watch you twice the speed because I talk so fast. Well, I don't talk nearly as fast on in briefs though, so I could see that. And then, yeah, Jay says the armor hookup, so that would be incredibly helpful. Thank you very much. And then someone was asking me, Taz was asking me about Torque's interview part 4, so I'm doing my best to release it as soon as humanly possible, but because of the briefs and because of the editing and because of everything that has been happening behind the scenes, which, oh my God, today is Friday and I completely, oh my God. Oh no, oh no, oh no. No. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so I forgot to do something, but there has been quite a bit of stuff happening behind the scenes. I'm talking to an independent news agency that I might be like partnering up with. I'm also like discussing a very, very, very big thing with Malcontent. I'm also discussing a thing with United 24. There is just so much happening behind the scenes, and I need to translate the whole interview. And it's an hour of the interview. It's an hour of the interview with Torque, right? That's left over, and I need to translate it, translate it, and then Matt voices it over. And so it's just a tremendous amount of work, and then it needs to be edited and stuff like that. And so it's just, it's a little bit difficult in a way. It's a little bit difficult in a way because there's just been a lot happening behind the scenes. So I'm going to try and do this before the New Year's, but it might be right after. Thank you, radio. Also, another thing that's going to be happening right after New Year's is the merch is going to come back. And so by buying merch, you're going to be donating to the Ukrainian armed forces. I am going to be choosing a different cause every month, and I'm going to be putting it up on the website so you know where the money is going. But like a big portion of the profits, which the profits are not like high at all. The profit margins are not high at all in terms of like, the cost of manufacturing and stuff. But anyways, a very big part of profits is going to go to the Ukrainian armed forces, which is why we're going to bring back the merch. And for those of you who own the merch, you know that it's really comfy. So that'll be coming back as well. Okay. The German federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia has handed over 370 generators to Dnipropetrovsk region, said the head of Dnipropetrovsk Regional Military Administration, Valentin Reznichenko. The first batch of 264 generators arrived today. Next week, we are waiting for the rest. Our Hromadas will install generators in the stability points, hospitals, social institutions. I thank our German partners for their support, Reznichenko wrote on Telegram. The next Ukraine-EU summit will take place on February 3rd in Brussels. President Zelensky has already received an invitation to the event, according to the spokesman for the European Council, President Charles Michel. The New York Times journalists have identified dozens of Russian soldiers who unalived civilians in Bucha. These are soldiers of the 234th Air Assault Regiment. The media analyzed phone records, documents, interviews, and thousands of hours of video showing how a Russian airborne unit killed dozens of people in Yablunska Street in Bucha in March. In particular, the occupiers took away mobile phones from the victims and immediately called Russia. Thank you, Mike. So I'm really happy that these monsters are getting identified because, it's interesting because for most of the world, these events are just news, right? They come and go, and it's like a new atrocity in Ukraine here, a new atrocity in Ukraine there. There is, it's news. It's news. It's sensational. It's like, oh my gosh, a horror of Bucha, right? But for Ukrainians, it's not just news. Like someone's parents, friends, neighbors were murdered in Bucha. And while it made sensation, thank you, DW. And while it was sensational in the beginning, and while it was sensational during that time, it's, and everybody forgot about it, it's still sensational for those Ukrainians who are from Bucha. And they want to know who did this to their families. And so it's really, 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 really comforting to know that some people in the world are still researching it, Also, I do want to give a quick shout out to someone. So Jason has a friend, and the friend's name is Alexei, and he's from the 60th Separate mechanized brigade in Ukraine. Sorry, I had to write that down because I would never have remembered which particular brigade. Hi, Netlin. But so Alexei is a friend of Jason who is a part of our community, and he's in the 6th Separate Mechanized Brigade. And I was told yesterday on the Zoom call that the guys from the 60th Separate Mechanized Brigade download my lives and then pass them around to each other to watch them because they like hearing the news from me. And I don't know what to say, and it's like an incredible honor, and I wanted to just say thank you very much, and I'm really happy that our defenders are finding them useful, and there is nothing more that I could expect. So I just really wanted to say thank you, and I really wanted to say Slava Україні, Slava нашим героям, якими являєтесь ви, and ми переможемо. Дуже вам дякую за те, що захищаєте нашу країну. So yeah, so that's just all I wanted to say, and I was just so incredibly like touched by that because yeah, I'm happy that I'm being useful, So yeah, there is that. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, so before I cry, we're gonna move on because I don't like crying, period. Public crying, no. Okay. Without new shelling, the power system will stabilize by summer, says Ministry of Energy. The Russian ruble fell to an 8-month low of 72 rubles per dollar, reports Reuters. So, I mean, it's so obviously Russian ruble was lower when the invasion, in the first months of the invasion, but then it stabilized and now it's falling again, which means that this time the market is actually crashing and their economy is actually crashing. So it's very, very good news. And hi, Netlin, and also thank you, Truthful. The first group of Ukrainian military in the framework of the EU mission IDNES has completed training in the Czech Republic. 4 more groups of Ukrainian servicemen are expected to arrive in the Czech Republic in 2023. Russian troops shelled residential areas of 3 cities in the Donetsk region. Chasiv Yar, Kramatorsk, and Kurakhova came under fire. 1 person was unalived and 2 wounded in Chasiv Yar. A boarding school was destroyed in Kramatorsk. And then the US Senate approved the draft budget for 2023 in the amount of $1.7 trillion, which includes the allocation of $44.9 billion to Ukraine. So, so that's a very, 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 very good bit of information here because, of course, Ukraine needs support, and Ukraine needs support, and Ukraine needs ammo. We need ammo. In the words of Zelensky, we need ammo, not a ride. Although the ride was very nice, and hopefully, that ride accomplished some more ammo deliveries. Then Putin claims that US Patriot missile systems are outdated, and then the Russian military will try to destroy them on the territory of Ukraine. So, lyrical pause here. Patriot air defense systems are some of the most advanced in the world. Russia glues and scotch tapes Canon DSLRs to their drones and uses microchips from washing machines and other household electronics. So I don't know if Russia has just never seen the technology that goes into the Patriot air defense systems, and that's why it thinks that they're outdated. Yeah, they're some of the most advanced air defense systems in the world, and there is, I'll say it this way, Ain't no way Russia can destroy them. I'm Ukrainian. Russia does love duct tape. But this reminds me of, like, this statement of, like, patriots are outdated because, we've never seen them in Russia. Reminds me of the situation that happened to me in 2015. And I was at a gas station in upstate New York, in like the middle of absolute nowhere upstate New York, as in like not like touristy upstate New York, not where people hike upstate New York, where my boyfriend at the time was from upstate New York. And so I smoked cigarettes at the time. So I went into the gas station to buy cigarettes. I did not have a New York ID. I had a Ukrainian driver's license and I had a Ukrainian passport. So I came into this gas station and I was trying to buy cigarettes, and I show him my passport and he's like, "Do you have any other proof of identification?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's my passport." And he's like, "Well, I have never seen this document and therefore it's invalid." And I was like, "Well, no, you've never seen this document. That is correct. That doesn't make it invalid. It's an international passport. It's my freaking passport. It has more value than an ID, simply because a passport is more legitimate of an identification than a driver's license or an ID. And let me get this straight. So you think that I am an American teenager who is under 21 years old, and instead of faking a Pennsylvania or Massachusetts ID, I went ahead and produced a whole ass Ukrainian passport? Also, at that time in that passport, I had an American visa. I had visas to so many other countries. So it's like, I really must have been like a very determined American underage person to think like, okay, what's a country that no one has ever heard of? Ukraine. So yeah, it was ridiculous. At the end of the day, my boyfriend had to come out of the car and show his ID and buy the cigarettes that way. But I was pissed because it was literally my international passport. And it's very funny. This kind of looks pre-recorded. I don't know why. Well, unless I'm a psychic and I knew that you were going to say that, I can assure you it's not pre-recorded. But yeah, basically, it sounds to me like, oh, I've never seen this document, therefore it's invalid. It's like, oh, we've never seen Patriot air defense missiles, therefore they're outdated. So yeah, so there is that. Wagner PMC received a shipment of weapons from North Korea to reinforce Russian troops in Ukraine, which is a sign of the group's expanding role in this conflict. Also, there is the thing. So North Korea is receiving a lot of warnings. And North Korea is getting sanctioned by a couple of countries over their arms deliveries to Russia. But also at the same time, even though North Korea is helping Russia, their weapons are in fact outdated. They can't really give them a lot of weapons because North Korea is doesn't have the budget for that. And North Korea is like an incredibly impoverished country in a lot of ways. But also the fact that Russia is reaching out to them for weapons shows despair. Incredible despair. And North Korea is just going to ruin whatever little standing they have left with other countries over doing that. So it just seems like a lose-lose situation for everyone. Also, for the social media networks that might ask what's in my cup, it's apple juice. Okay. German Federal Prosecutor's Office arrested an employee of the Federal Intelligence Service on suspicion of treason. He is accused of spying for Russia. German citizen Carsten L. was detained in Berlin. Searches were conducted in the apartment and at the place of work of the suspect and another person. The BND employee is suspected of passing information obtained in the course of his professional activities in the Russian Special Service in 2022. Its content is a state secret. Oh, the National Library of Ukraine was lit up with a 100K sign. Do we know what this is celebrating? Thank you. Thank you so much for all the little gifts on TikTok. By little, I mean like they're very cute. 100K. Yeah, do you guys know what 100K means and why we're celebrating it? So Russia has effectively been rid of 100K defenders of the Russian Federation who hasn't been attacked by anyone. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Happy holidays. But let me show you, because there was General Zaluzhny posted a special YouTube play button that he developed as a joke for the Russian military, and it's basically a YouTube play button, and it says 100,000 utilized servicemen of the Russian armed forces. But yeah, we're at 100K now. I can't find it at the moment, I'm sorry, but I am going to do that for the next newscast, or I will show it in the brief. Oh my gosh. So yeah, sorry, there is like a really, really weird comment on TikTok over here. Someone's asking me if my accent is Russian or Ukrainian. Well, I don't know. Which accent is that? Also, you know, you could. Thank you, Netlin. You could. Oh my gosh, it has a little it has a little Santa hat. It's a corgi with a Santa hat. Oh, I don't know. You know, you could go on my profile and you could look at the colors that I've chosen for my, you know, for my everything. You could look at all of my videos and figure out where I'm from, and you could figure out whether I'm Russian or Ukrainian, but that would be just so much work, right? It's just better to ask an ignorant question that you can easily answer based on my content on my stream, right? It's better that way. Okay, Russian dictator Putin said that the United States has long been involved in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, as they are trying to divide and rule. Thank you. Playing on the idea of Ukrainian nationalism, he called it a defeat that the West had managed to split the peoples of the USSR. Putin also mentioned the phrase, "If you want to lose Ukraine, annex Galicia." In his opinion, this is exactly what happened. Galicia is Western Ukraine, at least in his understanding. Thank you, Natlin. Thank you, Truthful. Or thank you. Wait, sorry. Thank you, Narump. So yeah. So yeah. You know, annex Galicia, which is not even like Halichina, sure, Western Ukraine, and splitting the peoples of the USSR, the peoples who really wanted to join the USSR to begin with, and who weren't colonized, who weren't forcefully shoved into the USSR. We were just all the peoples of USSR, you know, we just all lived happily together under, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Thank you, Netlin. We just all lived, we just all, you know, lived in happily under genocides, not being able to practice our language, not being able to have our culture. It's because, you know, everybody just wants to be the people of USSR and be killed for speaking the language you knew your whole life. Yeah, the peoples of USSR. Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi on Zelensky's speech in the Congress.
One of the speeches I've ever heard in the Congress. It was historic in that he and Churchill are the only two wartime presidents who have come here to talk about asking our help and thanking us for our anticipated help to stop the tyranny in Europe. It's really exciting. There was some applause line. Wasn't it great? Wasn't he wonderful? It was fun.
She said it was one of the finest speeches she has heard in the Congress so far, and that him and Churchill were the only two wartime leaders who have gotten that many, who have visited and who have gotten that many applause, you know. And his speech, someone asked me earlier what I thought about the speech. I personally really liked the speech. Also, the circumstances behind the speech, right? The applause, the standing ovation, the Ukrainian flag from Bakhmut, the flag that was hoisting over the Capitol that Pelosi gave to Zelensky, and the sole fact that if you told me a year ago that our president would be receiving a standing ovation in the US Congress for a speech on Russian tyranny, I would never believe you. I would simply never believe you. And so, you know, it was just a very, very beautiful and a very, very sad moment, because on the one hand, it's amazing to see a Ukrainian president speak to the US Congress, and one that is so good with his words. But on the other hand, it is so mortifying to think of the fact that it had to come to a genocide for a Ukrainian president to ever have spoken in front of the Congress. So yeah. Belarusian youth called on Russian occupiers not to involve them in the war against Ukraine and to leave their country. I agree with that. Let me see. Oh, these are destroyed House of Culture in Bakhmut. These are incredible photos, and I want to show them to you in a larger format. I thought I could get away with just, you know, using my phone. But, hi Nicole. Oh, crap. Well, I didn't charge my iPad. And you guys know that it's, you know, I'm very bad with my technology. Okay, we'll try to make do. Okay, so this is the destroyed Palace of Culture. I'm going to show it here and then here. So it's going to be hard to see. Okay. Wrong? It's a lot of photos, but they're all like... Nope. Okay, so this is... Oh, thank you, Truthful. This is the Palace of Culture in Bakhmut. And it's incredibly, it's just so symbolic, you know, that they destroy mostly cultural spaces because they want Ukrainian culture gone. It's a genocide. And those are all of the markers of a genocide. That's just all it is. And it's really, really upsetting. And the people that are like the naysayers and deny it are just, they're destroying our schools. They're forcing Ukrainian kids to speak Russian. They're force feeding them alternative history. They are, thank you, Smiley. Hi. They're force feeding them Ukrainian history. They're not letting them speak Ukrainian. They're destroying our museums. They're destroying palaces of Ukrainian culture. How is this not a genocide? They're deporting Ukrainians forcefully to Russia. How is it not a genocide, you know? The Seimas of Lithuania has banned the possession of weapons by citizens of Russia and Belarus permanently residing in the country, the press service of the Lithuanian parliament reported on Thursday. In Mariupol, local authorities have started demolishing a drama theater. According to various estimates, 300 to 600 people were killed in a Russian airstrike in March. According to the mayor's advisor, Petro Andrushenko, the back and central parts of the theater are subject to complete dismantling. But the front will be left intact as the basis for reconstruction. Andrushenko emphasizes that only those parts of the building that prove the bombing will be dismantled. So they're trying to cover up evidence. And this, if you might remember, it was Mariupol Drama Theater. And in front of that theater, there was an inscription that said children, because they wanted to make sure that Russians won't strike a facility that's full of children. It was that's where a lot of people whose houses were destroyed went to hide. I'm going to show you what they're doing, but not only did they, in the beginning, poured concrete over the bodies of all of the Ukrainians that died in that airstrike in the drama theater, because no Russian company wanted to clean it up, because the bodies were there, quite literally, pardon for using this word, cooking in the sun, and the smell was atrocious. So they just put freaking concrete over them, and now they're going to be dismantling the evidence of the bombing to begin with. Russian world. So yeah. Rejected Austrian painter. Are you Kazakh by any chance? And Russians are Russians with a ZZ, because that's their swastika. So yeah, and speaking of Russians or Rusians, occupiers shelled Zaporizhia region. As a result, 2 children were injured. The wall of the house they were hiding behind collapsed on them, head of the regional military administration pointed out. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni called on Italians to turn off gas and electricity for an hour a day in solidarity with Ukraine. Speaking of Italy, there is a theater in Italy that signed a contract with Polunian, who is like this Putin sympathizer who promotes the war in Ukraine, who was born in Kherson, who misses Kirill Strimousov, who was the Suda Kherson head. And he basically openly calls Putin the warrior of light and stuff like that. So a Italian theater has signed a ballet contract with him, and he was supposed to perform Rasputin in Italy, and they weren't going to cancel it. But then this amazing activist, she's Italian, and she's on Instagram, and she's just fantastic. So she recorded this entire video explaining how it's wrong, and she tagged so many people in it, and she asked people to spread it. She asked people to keep going. She asked people to keep talking about it. And now they're going to cancel. They're going to cancel. They're going to cancel that performance. So she did fantastic. Her name is Federica Antonacci. If you want to find her on Instagram, she's Italiana for Ukraine. She's amazing. I'm going to show you her handle here. This is her profile. It's Italiana for Ukraine. and she is awesome, and it's due to her efforts that this was done and this was accomplished. Also, to rejected Austrian painter, I'm Tajik or Persian working at Kazakhstan. I see. No, I just thought you said there are a lot of Russians in your country, and you said Central Asia, and I know that Kazakhstan was receiving a lot of Russians. But you're in one of the Russian refugee camps. Well, I personally don't consider Russians refugees. I consider those that ran away just rats who are running from the sinking ship. But I see what you're saying. I just will never call them refugees. Zelensky's team plans to present a peace plan to end the war in February 2023. US, Ukrainian, and NATO officials have said that Ukraine's position in any talks where it is likely to demand significant concessions from Moscow will depend on its position will depend on its position on the battlefield. And so Kyiv wants to prepare for potential peace talks by achieving military victories. A military unit burned in the east of Moscow at night. Baza writes that the fire occurred in garage boxes where there are allegedly no casualties. Meanwhile, in Saratov region of the Russian Federation, unknown persons set fire to a military enlistment office. Unknown persons might be those... You know what? If you want to know what Ukraine admitted to this week and who might be setting these fires, watch my brief on YouTube. So let me do the rundown again. Hi, my name is Yulia. I'm born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine. My entire family lives there. I moved to the United States at the age of 16, 12 years ago, and have been living in New York City ever since. My immediate family is in Lviv, so my mom, dad, my grandpa's, my grandma, my aunt. And on this channel every day, we do news breakdowns for the past 24 hours that pertain to Ukraine and come out of Ukraine. We give them historical, geopolitical, and otherwise relevant context. And it is to help you better understand what's happening. And this stream is airing on 4 different platforms at the same time under the same handle across the board. So whatever you see, wherever you are, that's my handle everywhere else. These platforms are Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you don't follow me on YouTube, I highly recommend that you do. Привіт, Rapunzel. I highly recommend that you do, because there is a lot of very useful content there, including interviews with Ukrainian defenders, such as servicemen of Azov Regiment and Aidan Aslan. They're dubbed with English voiceovers, so not even subtitles, so you can listen to them on the go. You don't have to read the subtitles. And I also have news briefs that come out twice a week that are basically rundowns of news for the week so far and concentrating in the past 24 hours in under 20 minutes, which is very convenient. And I'm also going to be introducing a couple of new segments, one of which is going to be FAQs, which is, oh my gosh, thank you, Netlin, which is going to be a segment for... basically for frequently asked questions about Ukraine that everybody's tired of answering, that you can just forward to your friends. Thank you, Jerry. That you can just forward to your friends that you're tired of answering, questions over and over and over again from. Okay, the United States and the United Kingdom have officially accused North Korea of supplying ammunition and infantry missiles to mercenaries of the Russian Wagner PMC. The media wrote the day before that the first delivery was last month. Official Pyongyang denies the accusations. The foreign ministry called them baseless and the most absurd distraction that is not worthy of comment or interpretation. Reuters reports the ministry accused the U.S. of Russia's war against Ukraine and condemned the provision of lethal weapons to the Ukrainian armed forces. Funny how, you can easily, thank you, Chris. Funny how you can easily trace those deliveries through satellites. I do understand that North Korea is about 30 years behind the whole world in terms of electronics and just technology development, and they might not know this information, but you can easily trace that they did in fact deliver weapons to Russia through satellite imagery. So them denying it or not denying it is really not changing the fact that it is proven. The mayor of Melitopol reported an explosion in the city center. According to Ivan Fedorov, a car used by Russians exploded. A representative of the occupation authorities, Vladimir Rogov, published a photo from the scene and reported 2 victims. He did not specify who they were. Last time that I heard about this, and this is not confirmed, so don't quote me on this, nor nor should you take it as a fact. But basically, the person who was in the car was one of the collaborators who was organizing, who was one of the collaborators who was working closely with the Russian military. But that is just a rumor, not confirmed yet, but that's allegedly who was in the car. Stoltenberg emphasizes that the Kremlin's actions indicate Russia's plans to resume the offensive against Ukraine, and the invitation to negotiations is only an attempt to gain time for preparations. Of course it is. Russia is actually never trying to really negotiate, because their negotiation is more like blackmail and demands. And if Ukraine doesn't fulfill them, which we won't, because we're not going to surrender our territory and people to Russia, they are just going to say, oh, Ukraine doesn't want to negotiate. So anytime they talk about peace talks, or anytime they bring up negotiations, they are just trying to buy time and trying to pretend like they tried. It's for a check mark. Russian Telegram channels now report that there were FSB officers in that car. Okay, so likely also people who are collaborating with the collaborators or hiring collaborators. Putin's announcement to expand the Russian army by around 30% to 1.5 million shows intentions to prepare for long-term strategic challenges, says the British intelligence. So yeah, if you are working for a Russian independent military blog on Telegram, I'm going to let you know that soon you're going to be receiving a lot of requests begging to fundraise for basic equipment and uniforms for people at the front lines, because Russia can't supply 300,000 men with underwear even to go to the front line, but somehow they want to recruit 1.5 million more. So I will say good luck to that, bon chance, and if you're a Russian military blogger, brace yourself. Occupiers are firing missiles at Kramatorsk, or rather were firing missiles at Kramatorsk as of 6:30 a.m. this morning Eastern Standard Time. So here is where we're getting to the thumbnail for today. So Putin turns to DPRK for weapons, and it is a sign of despair, says British Foreign Secretary. So yes, provided that Putin can't get weapons from anywhere else, and Putin is so low on them that he has to ask North Korea, fully understanding that their weapons are the equivalent of dinosaurs, and their weapons are extremely not effective. Also, their working condition is unknown, because again, that North Korea doesn't necessarily maintain anything very well. And as it is in a dictatorship, in a lot of cases, dictators tend to surround themselves with yes men. So people who tell them that everything is okay when in fact it isn't, but they don't want to be the messenger who gets shot, right? So we will work with our partners to make North Korea pay a high price for supporting Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. And that is British Foreign Secretary Ben Wallace who says that. 2 people died in Kherson as a result of morning shelling. Prime Minister of Finland's Sanna Marin, in her Christmas address, spoke against Russia's invasion of Ukraine and called on citizens to support Ukrainians. Also, as a very, very incredibly straight woman, I want to say that Sanna Marin is one of my 2 women crushes. I have 2 women crushes. One of them is that Olga girl. If you don't follow her, go follow her. She's an incredible Ukrainian creator from Donetsk. And my second female crush is Sanna Marin. She is fantastic. Each of us can offer help in a convenient way, for example, by devoting your time to help Ukrainians or by making a donation to any humanitarian organization, she said. U.S. assistance is the best way to achieve a just peace, says U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. The Security Service of Ukraine put on the international wanted list a Russian woman who urged her husband to SA. Her husband was in the Russian military. You might have heard that phone call where she was saying, oh, you can SA Ukrainian women, just don't tell me about it. But you should do that. So it is a Russian woman, Olga Bukovskaya, who lives in the occupied Crimea. Her husband is a military man who was a member of the Russian occupation group in the south. Bukovskaya urged her husband to SA Ukrainian women in the temporarily occupied areas of Kherson region as punishment. German railway carrier Deutsche Bahn has handed over 63 generators to JCS, Ukrzaliznytsia, and is preparing another 325. Zelensky announced the main tasks for diplomats for the next year. 1. Start of negotiations on Ukraine's accession to the EU. 2. Preparing for the planned NATO summit and ensuring concrete results of the summit for Ukraine. 3. Work on updated defense and security needs. You have to work constantly to meet them. On the morning of December 22nd, up to 10 Russian servicemen crossed the state border of Ukraine and Sumy region. Near the village of Vysoke, the troops engaged in a battle with Russian subversive group. They killed 2 Russians, the rest fled back to Russia. You know that music from Sims? It's like, wah, 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 wah. Yeah, that's how I feel. Ukraine plans to open embassies in 10 African countries to strengthen our relationship. Thank you, Brain Buzz. Next year, we will increase our activities. We are already resetting relations with dozens of African countries. Next year, we have to strengthen it. We have already identified 10 countries where new Ukrainian embassies in Africa will be opened, Volodymyr Zelensky said. Zelensky said under what conditions he will make other visits abroad. This one was a very good speech. If any visit potentially has the same significant strategic content as my visit to the United States, if the result of the visit will directly affect our armed forces, all our defense forces, if one or another of our partners, if one or another of our partners is ready to take the lead in implementing the points of the Ukrainian peace formula, if there can be decisive steps to accelerate our victory, then, as an exception to the general practice of wartime, my negotiations can be held at the personal level. Ambassador of Ukraine and Turkey, Vasil Bondar, told about conditions of stay of the released commanders of the units from Mariupol. According to him, they are limited only in movement and communication with the outside world. Bondar stressed that the dismissed commanders are provided with medicines, food, and sports equipment. Their condition has improved, but they are restricted in movement and communication. Latvia this year prevented more than 3,000 attempts to circumvent EU sanctions against Russia and Belarus, Customs Department of the State Revenue Service of Latvia reported. Russians are sending more personnel and equipment to the front by rail. About 500 servicemen from the Russian National Guard arrived in the temporarily occupied city of Berdyansk to strengthen administrative and police measures. The Belarusian regiment, named after Kostas Kalinovsky of the Armed Forces of Belarus, has been replenished. The recruits took the oath of allegiance to the Belarusian people, received military tickets, regimental chevrons, and personal weapons. Long live Belarus and glory to Ukraine. This is a resistance regiment. Oh my gosh. By declaring his desire to end the war as soon as possible, Russian President Vladimir Putin is trying to absolve himself of responsibility for the protracted hostilities, according to the American Institute for the Study of War. Sorry, I've been talking for like an hour and 30 minutes now, and I'm eating my words now. Putin has made several statements that Russia seeks to end the war as soon as possible, while noting that Russia will not increase the pace of the special military operation, as it will lead to unjustified losses. These statements are part of the Kremlin's consolidated attempts to justify Putin's military efforts to Russia's domestic audience, which is making great sacrifices to achieve the Kremlin's unrealistic goals. The Institute analyst said. They remind that the Russian military has not won any significant victory after the capture of Lysychansk on July 3rd. The government of the Netherlands is allocating 2.5 billion euros to help Ukraine in various areas until 2023. These funds will be used for military, humanitarian assistance, diplomatic support, infrastructure rehabilitation, and investigation of war crimes. President Volodymyr Zelensky met with the Supreme Commander-in-Chief. According to him, the military leadership sees prospects at the front. We are preparing for different options for the actions of the terrorist state. We see its intentions, and we will respond. Prosecutor General's office said that 54 torture chambers have been found in the-occupied territories of Ukraine after Russian retreat. And Rishi Sunak published a video in support of Ukraine for this Christmas, and I'm going to play it for you on the big screen. Oh, truthful. Your country is amazing. Okay. Hello. Okay, so let's set it up. And I think it's this one. Should be this one. Yep.
And they've attacked targets all over Ukraine. Zatimir and Dnipro had quite significant outages of power and water, and in Kharkiv, with civilian casualties in Kiev.
Somewhere in between our past and our future, rolling over all the dividing things. Are you still listening? Want to be heard by you? Slow fall into the Indian Sea, where the cold and hot meet, and the powers that be. I rise a child again. I wake up a wild one takes me there.
So that was a very lovely message, and that's the last thing that I have for today, and I figured it'd be nice to finish it on a nice note. Oh, hi, I'm Sapu. Oh my gosh, why does it keep... You guys know that my technology abilities are not very great. So yeah, that is all I had for you for today. Please let me know if you have any questions, suggestions, or anything like that, and I'll be happy to answer them. So let me know. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, thank you so much, Brain Buzz. Sorry, I was responding to you, 24. Thank you so much. How do you think this is going to end? Well, this is a question I receive so much, but I don't really know how to answer it because it's with Ukrainian victory, but how it's going to happen and when it's going to, how it's going to happen and when is going to directly depend on the weapon supplies. So yeah. Peace out, Girl Scout. Thank you guys. Thank you, Lauren. Oh my gosh, these little bear hats are so funny. If you guys are not on TikTok, you don't know what I'm talking about, but they're hilarious. TikTok has these like little gifts, and they're like, some of them are hats. So yeah, there is that. Where do I study? I'm not studying anymore. I've graduated a very long time ago, but I went to college here in the US. Well, I went to school in Ukraine, then I went to college here. The bear hats are adorable, Lauren. Oh, you guys, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bring 1 second. You asked to do this so many times, and normally I try not to disturb her peace, but give me 1 second, I'll be back. I have a special guest today. A special little tiny little guest. Senora. Senora. Come on, baby. Come here. Come here, little one. You know how many people missed you? So many people asked about you. Wait. Sit. Okay. Well. Wait. Okay, 1 sec. 1 sec, Sin. Oh, YouTube can't see you. Okay, 1 second. 1 second, Cindy. Yes, I'm giving you treats in a moment. Just give me a minute. We're gonna change the camera to FaceTime. Cindy. Okay, come here. Okay. Слава Україні. Слава нації. Пиздець Російській Федерації. Good girl. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Thank you, Brain Buzz. Yeah. The dog has been needing an appearance for a while. Everybody's been asking about her, but I've been trying to not disturb her because Beast has been liking to sleep at this time. So yeah, this is Beast. This is my little Beast. Her name is Cindy. She's Ukrainian too. I have a reporter job? What do you mean, Jerry? Anna. Who's my little one? Who's my little one? Thank you, Wendy. And yeah, guys, Heroim Slava. Okay, me and Beastie are going to go take Beastie for a walk and give her dinner because it's dinner time, right? Is it dinner time? I'm not going to say the magic word because if I say FOOD, she's going to freak out. Thank you, Lucy. You brought a dog home from Syria. That's very nice. Alrighty, guys. Thank you. I will see you before Christmas. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We don't take breaks. Sinunia. Smushy face dog. Yes, smushy face dog. Merry Christmas, guys. I hope that you spend a very lovely time with your family. And I hope that you have a very good Christmas, or you spend a very good time with your loved ones or chosen family, or by yourself, or however you like to spend your Christmases. But I hope that you have a very, very, very nice time this Christmas. Did you not get a quote for the day? I don't think Armin's here. No, I didn't see Armin's quote for the day. Juju. Wait. Hand over the treats and no one gets hurt is what her face says. Yes, yes. Okay, me and dog are gonna go. Bye, guys. I love you. I'm gonna put the dog down and then I'm going to turn off the live. Oh my god. Okay, dog. There's just so many like different camera things going on here. Yes. I'm putting it down. Don't worry. Oof. Okay. What? Oh, my husband's gonna kill me because I just moved the camera. And he didn't want me to move the camera. He was, Okay. I'm gonna switch to the normal thing. And I'm gonna say goodbye. Alrighty, bye guys. Thank you for being here. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and I will see you soon. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.